Hello. Okay. Let's bring Seth. Hello. Romeo still has questions, but I cannot see them because they're on the phone. There's a glitch with trying to see them on Facebook. And we don't have Rocky's phone because he is not here. But Randy has some questions herself, so I'll post those and we will start with that. Number 1. Was pregnancy always difficult? Was it always painful? Not in the very beginning, because it was seen as bringing something into the world. So it was considered very sacred, and women were actually honored. They weren't they weren't seen as submissive beings that they're seen as now. I'm not used to hair all over the place. Anyways, they were thought of more highly, and it was this sacred ritual of bringing a life to this earth. And there's candles and warm lighting and water features. Think of Greek times, Roman times. It was all very nice. And at those times, it was no more painful than cramps that you get from your period. It was discomfort, but it wasn't agonizing like it is now. Past then, birth became seen as this burden, and then it became more and more painful, and it was a way for women to be seen as weak while doing something great. It got twisted and misconstrued. So no, it was not always painful, and now it's going back to that where people realize you can do water births, you can bounce on a ball, you can do reflexology and massage muscles in the feet to relax other muscles, and now and you have drugs too, but now it's getting back to where it doesn't need to be so painful and long and drawn out. It can be a quick, easy process. Number 2, do people have to get zits and experience puberty? No, but that is something that came about from way back in the day, because it was a great honor to go from a child to manhood, or becoming a woman, going into adulthood. So they wanted obvious signs that you were transitioning, instead of, some cultures, they'll just have when you're 16, now you're a woman. But back then it was all about the signs, the facial hair, the armpit hair, pubic hair, the acne, the sweating, the body odor, the period, all of those things, growing hips and breasts and becoming less straight and more curved.
Hi, Reggie.
This is Seth.
Who's it?
It's Seth.
I can't see him. Is that Seth?
Yes.
Where? I can't see him.
You have a question?
Where is he? Is he on the phone?
Do you have a question?
Do he have a big teddy bear?
No.
A big granny? Pink! Pink! I say hi.
Bye. Let's see who that is. So much fun when you're babysitting. So anyways,
Hey,
since you can't see Seth.
hi, Seth. Bye. Bye, Seth. Bye. I'm sitting here.
I made your phone for questions. But anyways. Before, yes, people wanted an obvious sign of what it was to go from child to puberty to adult. But today,
No.
that is not seen as much as necessary. And so,
Hey, Seth. Okay. I gotta just cash in.
read your book.
Okay. Captain Underpants. And okay.
So, girls especially are finding they don't need to have unclear skin. And the signs are more subtle now.
No, thank you. You have it. If we pay for it, we're just having.
Number 3, is it possible to get pregnant without a man? Yes.
Captain Underpants.
Mary did it. Allegedly.
Captain Underpants. But I'm saying Captain Underpants. Captain Underpants.
Where is? I'm just trying to find Romeo's questions. But anyways, yes, anyone can become pregnant simply by longing for it.
I'll go get it. I'll break you. Okay.
Okay, we will find Romeo's questions a different spot. Okay, number 4. Since there are no coincidences, what is the reason with Jane/Robert, Esther/Jerry, and Randy/Rocky all seem to have the woman with an average to above average income upbringing versus the man having less money? Yes, that is curious. Randy discovered that after Rocky mentioned it, and
we're downstairs.
back to business. Yes, that is a curious pattern. It is not necessary, but it is curious that the 3 women have that in common and the 3 men have that in common. And it just shows the different perspectives between them because of their upbringing. But it could have been the other way where Jane grew up poor, Robert grew up rich, Esther poor, Jerry rich, Randy rich, Rocky poor. Like, it could have been a mix, but it's just kind of fun to have it. All the women and all the men have that in common. And there'll be more on that later. Because there are children in here, we will not be able to answer the next question. We'll have to save that. I will dip out for a second. Let's type that just in case anything weird happens. So, what does it mean to be a blended human being? Blended just means that you've touched in with your higher vibration, your higher power, and that you're kind of uplifted. And so, another one. When you're blended, you're just in touch, you've kind of got a purpose in life, you're following your path, you're not just waking up, going through your day, and going to bed. You actually have a point of being awake. I won't be able to keep checking the questions like that, so I'll have to maybe save them for next week, which might be our final week doing this. We will see. I don't know why you cannot check messages on the computer. Ah, here we go. I found it. I'm so smart. Because I'm all-knowing. Okay. Let's check older ones. So... Seth books, space, sun, what made Jesus, how can you change a core belief?
Jesus.
I think this is where we left off. Okay. You said that when we made contact with extraterrestrials during Reagan's presidency that several conversations went on. Were they face-to-face conversations or more like radio broadcasts? Can you describe what the aliens that we contacted looked like? Okay. One at first was like a broadcast from a spaceship and like with megaphones, but the other two were in person. If you have seen that new movie with Amy Adams in it, where they have like a big glass wall and there was talking between the two of them, it was like that, so that both parties felt safe. And you can think of like Area 51, like somewhere cut off that no one would see, no one would go there. No one would stumble upon this. They look more or less like humans, except they were a lot taller and they had like a bluish greenish hue to their skin and bigger eyes. And different types of hairstyles, like more like in ponytails and sticking straight out, but more or less they just look kind of like cartoon versions of humans. Because if they look completely different, it wouldn't have worked, because you wouldn't have wanted to approach them, but because they look similar, they didn't seem as threatening. Okay. How many different energies make up the extraterrestrial entity known as Basar? Is it just one alien? Is Basar different from what you are? Basar is 2. He is not like me. He is a lower level. He's not below me, he's just a lower level of experience so far. Yeah, we're different. Sometimes it seems like Bashar gets annoyed while explaining things to humans, but you and Abraham never seem to be annoyed by anything. Why is that? It's because he is a lower level, so he hasn't quite gotten to the stage where you can tune out any annoyances. It doesn't really affect you. Reality is stranger than fiction. Were there ever people with superpowers or special abilities, for example, superhuman strength, shooting energy balls from their hands and flying in the sky like Superman? People could hover but not really for long distances. But if they had to get like across a river, they could pretty much fly, like they could hover across it. Self-healing was a lot stronger, so if you got a cut or a wound, you could heal it within a couple minutes. You'll probably have to get that charger. The charger? It's at 20. People were better with like telepathy, like they could read each other's minds better. But with that, people also learned how to close their minds better so that they couldn't be read. Seth, you spoke of an ancient civilization called Lemunia on the island of Mascara. Can you tell me more about how they utilize sound? How did they form the energy fields around their civilizations which isolated them from other groups? Did those energy fields prevent people from entering? What happens if someone were to make contact with this energy field? This idea actually was seen in Harry Potter, where they used to put up charms around things like the school to stop regular humans or muggles from seeing the school. So once they got to a certain point, all of a sudden they would remember they had to do something, and they would be totally sidetracked and they would leave. So when they put up these like energy barriers, it essentially did the same thing, where the person suddenly had a thought where they had to leave immediately, or they got uncomfortable and they thought, let's turn around now. So it just redirected their path. Hold on, we're going to put in the charger. Because that drive with no service likes to suck all the juice. Good job, Rocky. You're hired.
I don't want the job.
That's what I thought. Okay. The sound power that they used. Ironically, I drew up plans for this machine recently and gave it to someone who had also asked about it. But if you think of one of those noise guns that they have, where it's like those big yellow tubes, and you pull back on an elastic and it hits a piece of like thin plastic and it shoots air, the force of it, think of that with drums and people intending it and kind of a big ceremony and higher scale, and instead of plastic, metal, for the plastic cone dome thing that channeled the sound and the air and was able to move solid objects. Can you describe the type of instrument used by the ancient Egyptians to build the pyramids? What material is it made out of? How big was the instrument? Did it require more than one person to operate it? So same thing, except much, much larger. They did use ropes, and they pulled things on, they put them on slabs because they rolled better on the ground, but they also used this sound instrument, and it took about 10 people to all pull back the elastic, the rope, that would hit and create that push of energy. And it was made out of different types of thin metals. I saw a video on the internet where a group of people gathered around a pretty big rock. The people started yelling the same tone very loudly at the rock, and the rock began to levitate due to the power of the human voice and numbers. Was it real? Is it possible to do something like this? It was a funny sight to see a bunch of people yelling at a rock. I can imagine. That one, they have done it before, but because they had the pressure of filming a video in that particular instance, they used a bit of editing to help it. But people have done it before, but usually when a camera gets involved, when people know about it, then there's pressure and it makes it harder for them to succeed. So at that time, they had a bit of help. just because they wanted to get the idea out there. You mentioned before that there are levels to meditation. What happens at the deeper levels? What are the differences? At a basic level, you are just going to close your eyes and see blackness. At another level, you'll often close your eyes and then you'll start to see colors and shapes. And if you ask questions, you can actually get these colors to appear brighter or bigger and to move about. You don't have to have your eyes closed for this though. If you go into a deprivation tank, because it's so dark, it mimics when your eyes are closed. So in the darkness, you can see all this on the roof of the pod and have the same thing happen. And once you get even deeper, you can have almost a conversation where you're asking the questions and the ideas are just flowing to you, or the words are actually, writing themselves in the dark. It just gets more obvious and comes to you faster, and it's more relaxing, so it's more beneficial. Why does meditation work? Why does clearing your mind yield desired results? Because you're stopping yourself from stopping things, and you go to allowing things. So when you're quiet, you can hear. So the questions that you've been asking, finally the answers can come forward. It works just the same way a nap does. Like if you're sick and you notice people sleep a lot, it's because it heals your body, it makes you feel better. Which is what you mentioned next. Does taking a nap do the same thing that meditation does? Slightly less, but yes, the same idea. Because when you're meditating, you're putting energy and momentum towards it, you're intending for it, but with a nap, yes, it helps reset you and raise your vibration. Is listening to your favorite music a form of meditation? It can be, especially if you're in nature or doing something like yoga. I get that there is no such thing as death, but there seems to be such a thing as the loss of physicality. That's why it's called non-physical, right? What would you tell a child who's had a loved one recently transition in a violent manner when they say that they miss their physical presence here on Earth? They're still here if you ask, so you might not recognize them as what they looked like, but maybe you see like a lighter version of them, like almost a shadow, like a hologram. Maybe there's a horse or a dog they really enjoy. Maybe they've come back in that form. So even if they're not here with you as you remember them, they are around, and if you ask for them to, appear, they can. The other day I walked up to a tree, put my hands on it, and asked it for healing energy. I was standing there for quite some time. I probably looked like a weirdo, but didn't care. Anyway, the tree just stood there. I'm not sure if I received the energy or not, but I didn't feel anything. Am I supposed to feel something? Yes. You'll feel like a chill on the back of your neck, or like tingling in your hands where you're touching it. Like you'll feel something that is different, because that's the energy flowing from the tree to you. So it's possible that that tree was young and it didn't know how to communicate, or because you were doubting it, you didn't have enough momentum behind it. But if you try again, especially somewhere where people can't see you, then it might be more successful. If there are physically focused extraterrestrials who don't eat food, then how do they get energy? What are some of the other methods of gaining energy for other physically focused beings who don't digest food? You just kind of absorb it into your pores like air. It's just like breathing in air. You're breathing in energy that your body uses. And that's basically all there is to it. How can the physical mind learn to better communicate with the higher mind? Stop believing everything you hear. There's different things like, oh, blue means calm energy and red means high energy. No, it's whatever the color speaks to you is how you respond to it. Because everybody sees colors a slightly different shade, so whatever you feel from something is what it is meant for you. Same as, oh well, they think with like when somebody has stomach ache, it means they have this kind of stress in their life. No. Any stress will manifest in whatever way your body reacts to it. So, any stress is not good, but you can't classify things like, oh, bladder infection relates to this. No, it just means there's some kind of stress that you need to deal with. So stop trying to categorize everything and just, when you're talking, acknowledge different things like, oh, well, it's been a really nice winter this year. So what you're saying is, you only get nice winters sometimes. When in reality, you could have nice winters every year. So it's been a really nice winter this year. Hopefully we get this again. It would be nice if we got this again. It'd be nice if it looked nice every year. Just every time you talk, correct yourself. Abraham has mentioned that when they look into the crowd, they see energy instead of people. Is this the same way for you? When you look at Rocky, do you see his energy? I see his physical form, which is quite large. But he's
So
quite
sweet,
large.
Seth. They quit.
But I also feel like a glowing. So when you look at somebody's aura, often if it's white or yellow, it's quite strong. It's very, very high and positive. And that's what Abraham sees. He sees like a glowing, and it kind of shoots straight up so that it's really easy to see the person so that they can pick them quickly. Okay. How did the gray aliens destroy their version of Earth? There was a war. Think like any of those alien movies you've seen with battles and guns and flare guns and all those kind of weapons. Something like that on a mass scale. It would bring me so much joy to be able to fly. What do I need to concentrate in order to physically levitate? How can I concentrate and meditate at the same time? These two things contradict each other, don't they? If you're meditating for a certain reason, and it's a real yearning, it can, yes, not be meditative, but if you're laying there thinking about, I really want my car to sell this week, you're focusing on letting go of the car and how good it would feel to have it sell and have the money to put towards something else, then you're concentrating, but you're also meditating because it's light. If you are trying to meditate and concentrate about learning how to fly, well, that seems pretty far-fetched, and it's very difficult seeming, so you're probably not going to be able to do it. But if you meditate and just appreciate the feeling of flying and how it would feel light and new and exciting and adventurous, then you might be able to differentiate the two. But first focus on flying in your dreams. Practice flying in your dreams. Before you go to sleep, say, I want to practice flying tonight, and I want to remember it. And that will help you get into the feeling place of it to allow it. What is alchemy? Did alchemists really exist, and what do they do? Alchemy is making stone into gold. Yes, they existed. They still exist in India, mostly, some in South America. And yes, they still create gold. It's kind of like this secret, but they put their energy and their beliefs, and they use different materials, and they can create, yes, gold. But often they're very poor and they're not doing it for the reasons of just being filthy rich, so that's why they can. I just realized that the word disease is called disease because people are not at ease while having a disease. Yes, dis-ease. So how can someone change their belief system in order to ease a disease? Stop calling it a disease. It's a temporary illness or discomfort that is resulted because of a manifestation of stress, has created a physical form, and you can ask it to be released. Maybe you needed it before, you don't need it now. I trust my body knows what to do, it knows how to heal itself, and I'm allowing it to do that now. How has light spectrum been used in history to heal? How can light spectrum be used to heal today? Well, often people who are depressed or like who live up north where there's very little sunlight, they're given special lamps that they're not like regular lamps, they're a lot brighter and they mimic the sun a lot better. And so they feel better and uplifted, and people who live in Costa Rica where it's sunny all the time, they're very happy, whereas people in places that have long winters that might not have sun, it's all like, I don't know, Alaska or the Yukon, it's easier to get a bit depressed and down unless you intentionally are doing things to overcome that. So yes, it was used back in the day when people were ill. They weren't kept in like a dark room. They had the windows open and light come in for vitamin D, and same thing today, just opening the shades, going outside. How sensitive is the correlation between the reality we create and our thoughts? Very. How careful do we have to be with our thoughts? Very. If Source already knows what we want, then why does it even matter what we think on a day-to-day basis? Does my higher self know what all of my desires are? Isn't my vortex filled with everything I want? Negative thoughts are much less powerful than positive ones, but if you repeatedly think a negative thought, it's going to manifest. If you repeatedly think a positive thought, it's going to manifest, and it'll manifest a lot quicker. Yes, your source knows what you want, and it tries to help guide you towards that, but it can't just give you those things without you putting in the effort of having a higher vibration, because that's what you're here to practice. Yes, everything you want is in the vortex, and once you get in there and continuously stay in there, that's when everything unfolds. But you don't have to be worried about having negative thoughts, even though your thoughts create your reality, because, again, they're not as powerful as positive ones, and if you immediately think it and then think, no, that's not what I want, there's no effect. But if you think it and you hold on to it, then that's when it's going to put energy towards it. But if you just kind of think it and dismiss it, like, oh no, then there's no power behind it. You've mentioned that the juveniles who first inhabited the earth came already knowing a language. What language was it? Was it a language or a telepathic language? It was a language. There's no name for it because it kind of died out really quickly, but it wasn't English. English is a modern language, and it used a lot of sign language as well because they often were hunting and they couldn't talk, so they had to use symbols, hand signals. So it was a mix of hand signals and words. Seth, are you currently reading my words? Or is Randy reading my words? Why do you sometimes mispronounce words or names? For some reason in my head, I had the idea that you know all languages and know every single word in the dictionary. Do you not? I do, but Randy's influence can be stronger sometimes, and we can almost compete, so sometimes she puts in her experience and then the words get mispronounced, but over time that will, lessen. It is me reading everything right now, but yes, Randy can influence it and kind of gibble it up. But yes, I know many languages. Eventually, Randy can probably speak in French and Korean, other things. I get that you knew Jane Roberts in other times and places, but why did you insist on referring to Jane as Rupert and as him, but you don't do that with Randy? I thought it was kind of unfunny. Did you know Randy in other times and places? I did, with Jane. Jane wanted a very authentic experience, so having me refer to her as her best self was something she sought. Randy wants to be known as Randy. She's not really into that kind of stuff, so we skip past that. We could eventually reveal what her and Rocky's other names would be, but it's not really important right now. Same thing with the voice. She doesn't need the voice as confirmation. But yes, before transitioning back to Earth, Randy, Rocky, and I had met many times, discussed the type of experience they were seeking and how we would work together. It's always put in place before coming here. What determines how quickly we age? Stress. Why do we have to get old and weak? You don't. Why can't we just stay as youthful as we are in our 30s until we croak? Some do. Must we become senile and die of old age? No. Do we have a choice? Yes. It is more seen as a choice now, especially with all these advances in technology. And people now are coming not believing that they have to age, get old, wrinkle, get weak, and die. People don't really want that anymore. And they're coming more for the experience of living. But when you look at certain actresses like Jennifer Aniston, J-Lo, Cindy Crawford, who's that little blonde, she's from This Is 40. We'll get her name. Randy always forgets her name, so this tends to cloud. Judd Apatow is the husband. What is her name? Leslie Mann. People like them, they don't look like they've aged. And that's because they're very happy, they're very positive. People who have really wrinkled faces have had a lot of stress that's taken place. And you can't soften it and lighten it, but once it's to a certain point, it's quite difficult. But yes, experience in life takes an age on you physically, but only if you allow it to. If you're really, you might have a lot of bad, difficult things happen to you, but it's your attitude towards them is maybe very light and kind of oh well, we'll move on. It's not going to affect you in the same way. So it's just how you react to what happens to you. Usain Bolt currently holds the record for the world's fastest man. What was the fastest speed ever reached by a human on foot? His goal is to be the fastest. He's very close. He's at about 27 miles per hour right now when he sprints. The fastest that the world has currently witnessed is about 32 miles per hour. His goal is to beat that. He may in this lifetime, but that's not recorded, so he is the fastest recorded in human history. So basically everything comes down to just get into the vortex right. Is it more about being happy or just not being sad? Should we aim to be content? Is it more important to be happy or to stay positive? Or is it more about expecting what you want to happen. Now I'm just making it more complicated, aren't I? Which sentence sums up teaching the law of attraction? Get happy and everything unfolds. It's not this, like, opposite of, well, I'm not sad, so I'm pretty good. You have to be really, like, joyously happy for things to just click really fast. You can be happy and have things happen, but you're not in the vortex, so things don't manifest as fast as they could. But if you're in the vortex, you're super high, you're super happy, bam, 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 everything lines up perfectly. Every time you go somewhere, there's an open parking spot right out front, or somebody's just pulling out, so a parking spot becomes available. There's no wait at the store, the cashier's empty, and then you look behind you, and all of a sudden 15 people are lined up. Just everything unfolds easily for you. So it's about being happy, and when you dip down, just getting back to being happy. Okay, we did the blended human. How come you never have any questions, Seth? Here, I'll ask one for you. Do you find this information useful, Romeo? Yes, I love the way you explain things very much. I love you and Randy and Rocky and the way the co-created experience has unfolded. I love your sense of humor as well. I'm eternally grateful for the expansion. Thank you for sharing your ideas and philosophies with us. Well, I don't have questions because I can always refer to a teacher in my own plane of existence. But often my question to Rocky is, do you have any questions?
Is sometimes.
Which is where we are coming to next, because Randy asked her questions. We finished Romeo's. We have 16 minutes left.
Kirsten, the floor is yours.
What?
Got any questions for Seth?
No.
No?
Actually, we did have one other question. Well, one of Randy's we'll ask another time.
Okay.
But her other question was about, and why does music seem to elevate us? Is there a connection to non-physical? The answer is, when you come here as a baby, you'll often hear what people refer to as angels singing. It's very light, easy, harmonious music. It's very soft and gentle to make the experience being taken from non-physical and put into this very small but physical thing that continues to grow, to make it easy. And so music continues in physical life to soothe, and you'll find certain music energizes you, certain music makes you angry, you can relate to the lyrics, or just the different notes, the combination can really do it for you. But yes, music can take you into the vortex, and it can take you out of it, and there is that connection to non-physical.
Very good. That's it for the questions.
Yes. Your turn.
Early night.
Nope. It was an early one last time.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, he's narrowing the eyes. He must be concentrating. We're pretending to be.
I don't really have a question that come to mind.
Surprise, surprise.
Normally I'm full of questions.
Would you like to
but,
give an update on our book?
Sure.
We are at approximately 80 pages, 80 to 90.
Yes.
And within a week, we will be ready to contact publishers, if you know any. First draft, last draft. Nobody needs editing when you're non-physical.
No, that'll be good.
If you know anyone who wants to be added to the email list, let us know.
Yes, sir.
I think we've had 5 so far. Getting positive feedback, so that is always good.
Yes, sir. What else, Sethy?
No, what else, Rocky?
Pretty much covered it.
I don't think I did.
I believe you did.
So I don't think I did.
I think we go swimming.
Yeah. If we keep
going.
if we keep positive, will we go swimming?
Yeah, Seth, there's a question for you.
Considering it's already 7, perhaps tomorrow is
We
a
could
better
still go.
day.
We could still go till 9:30.
But tomorrow may be more beneficial because you could swim for much longer.
So,
Your money will go further.
Yes.
so
Well, it's been lovely. Goodbye. We thank you for your time.
11 minutes, son.
That was good. Well, what do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about you.
Okay.
Why haven't you? Done any writing lately?
Just been busy. Pretty busy.
You
Building.
can't spare 10 minutes before you go to bed?
Oh yeah, I could. Definitely. Watch Gold Rush. Do some writing. It's pretty simple, really. Gold Rush won that wrestling match.
what?
Are you going to watch Bush People tonight?
Perhaps.
It's our favorite show.
Correction, it's your favorite show.
Your. Don't pretend like you don't love the Browns. They could be watching.
Okay. Huh?
Huh?
What? Okay, for questions, I guess I could ask some. No, I don't have one. Thought I did. It vanished.
People pay big bucks to see me. And you're just sitting there.
I'm absorbing our energy. I've asked for your spare energy. And I'm just sitting here absorbing.
Stealing it.
Yes. I don't know. No questions.
You looked backwards when you said you were on TV.
No, I don't really have any questions right now. But, probably tomorrow.
You're recording tomorrow.
I'm
Well,
watching
a live
you.
session, but we could, wrap up this book. I don't know, I think we just ended early. We're only a couple minutes off the mark.
Me.
That's one way to get out of it. Right. We'll go now.
That way I can spend the next 8 minutes writing.
Get your notebook and prove it.
Of course.
Okay,
Ashton.
it's time to go.
All right, Tessie, thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Happy New Year.
We love you.
Are you going? Like waiting? I'm ready.
Bye.